What's up, bro?
Yeah, he'd be like, "What's up, bro?" He's like, "Yo, you watching them? that show?"
I refuse.
I haven't started it. She's watching it a little bit.
How are you watching that?
Wait,
I cannot.
what is
Well, it was on. Bianca's watching it. So it's been on while I was doing meal prep for him today, and I was just like, I cannot. I don't know what the point necessarily of this is.
I heard there is no point. Like, it's like that throughout the whole series, and it's just like at the end they just survive. But I'm like, I can't watch
all
black
this
trauma.
trauma.
Black
Oh, that's what it's
And
about?
it's very, very traumatic.
Wait, what is it about?
I haven't seen it yet.
So it's basically this
saying
black
it.
family moves into East Compton, white neighborhood at the time, and then it's about their experiences, racial.
Is it back in the day or is it current?
Yeah, it's a bad. I
So
think
it's
it's
like they take you back to. So they're from. I don't remember if they're from the South or whatever, but there's an incident that happens, which I guess is common for the history of a lot of African American families. Like something happens, you got to jet and go up north or go somewhere else because of racial
Well, that's how it
injustice
happened,
or an experience. So okay, relatable, but they show you
The graphics.
the trauma, right? They show you that, and I'm like, okay.
Is it based off a true story?
Is this
I don't think it's based off a true
helping
story.
the story?
I'm not sure.
It
I
could
think
be parts of it, because what I hear is like even like just a lot of the merging, the murdering, the eye gouging and things like that. They said there was like an infant that was murdered in there, and they show you, and it's just like, I'm like, this is why I don't watch Beloved or read the book Beloved. Like, and people be like, "Oh, but Beloved is such a good book." I'm like, that is black trauma. That's what.
There
it
is
reminds me
a
of.
fine line between being informed and just
Slap in the face.
yeah. Well, it's just too far.
Putting
Like
out
like
shock value.
there's enough right now, right? Like of violence we see with black bodies
Every day.
that I don't even think we need to see all those. Like, it's important. So to me, right, it's important to stay informed and to know what's happening. And it's important to know the history of the brutality that this country did to black people and people of color, indigenous peoples. It's important to know about what colonization has caused.
Right.
But we don't have to see it in graphic detail to move forward.
Right.
And I think that there's become this thing in America where it's cool and it's like it's funded to make these movies and make these shows where they are just diving into this black trauma and black violence unnecessarily.
It's like they get to sit at home, eat their popcorn, watch it.
Right.
Like, oh man.
Watching,
It's not even just America. It's definitely like a Western, like a white Western thing.
But this is what I mean when I say America, I mean like Western civilization. When I say America, I'm also talking about who's funding these films, right? Like people come to Hollywood, people people come to Netflix or
Because it's
wherever
not even
it's going.
just films. It's media too.
it's
It's like you don't ever see if there's some kind of attack or some kind of devastation, natural disaster. You never see white bodies on TV. You never see white death. You always see black and brown bodies laying in the street. Like you always see that. It's like, who is this? Who is this for?
Who's the audience?
Yeah.
Because it's not us. We know what it looks like.
With us in elementary, we third grade we're watching lynchings, and hanging. They taking us to the museums and all that.
Right.
Like looking back at it, it's like
yeah,
they put it right in our face for us.
But
to
it's
be
like,
scared.
and I hate it, but I'm just like, we're the wrong audience. Stop showing it to us. We know what it looks like.
It's funny because I always say that the same things that, make white people racist and make them, not care about, black bodies and not care about our lives, that we have to yell Black Lives Matter. And the same thing that creates that culture. We digest the same stuff. We have a lot of those same issues and a lot of those same thoughts because we are seeing the same information. We're seeing the same news stories. We're saying the same data, the same the same movies that depict this violence against us. That we're seeing these same images, and a lot of us have issues with even within our own culture. Like we're scared of black people too. We're afraid of the violence in our communities as well. Until you free your mind, and you're able to look at what's really causing
and
this.
what caused it and what trickled it down.
We have a lot of those same things embedded in us because that's the society that we live in. And I think there's got to be some kind of shift into, I'm all for black creators and I want us to tell our stories, and a lot of our stories will have, and there is an element of that because that is true that is part of the story of Black people, you know, worldwide, whether it's the Caribbean, whether it's South America, you know, that's part of the story, and we have to tell that part, but we have to be careful how we tell it, and that can't be the only thing we tell.
And it shouldn't have to. Like, I just feel like I remember, do you guys remember the movie The Last King of Scotland?
Yeah.
Like, I love, like, they had something like that. Like, that goes beyond slavery. Like, the King of Scotland, the last King of Scotland was a Black man. Like, there's so many things.
Well, it's funny because like our stories always start with slavery,
and I hate that.
Like there's there's
if you go to the African American Museum, it doesn't even start there. Like, I was listening to the podcast of the man who helped build and create the African American Museum in DC, and he said because they've always pushed this narrative that it started at slavery. And he was like, that's why I made the elevator a time capsule to start before slavery. That's why I show you the kings and queens. I show you King Mansa Musa. I show you every king and queen and teach you their history, and then teach you who sold who to whom and why they sold them into tribes. Like, people don't even know the history of Queen Nzinga and how she started. And she was a woman like for like 40 years running a country, and didn't allow colonizers into this area, in their area, to sell them to Westerners. Like, there's so many things that go into it.
Don't you wanna feel